Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Lisa. Today we're going to be making these circular waterfall inserts. As you can see, they're a lovely interactive element, and you can put them in your journal, in your scrapbook, put them on front of cards or inside cards. Even just on their own is a lovely gift. For the purpose of this video, I've used pattern card, but you could put pictures of your family members, your children, a special occasion, a holiday for instance, and it puts 16 photos all in one place, which I think is a wonderful idea. Now, the reason I've decided to do this today is because in one of my bulk buys of craft stuff, I found this, and this is a die for my big shot. You just put it through as you do with the big shot, and you do 16 of each of these large and small squares, and then it's only one of everything else. Now this got me thinking, not everybody has a big shot at home, and not everybody has a cry cut at home. I'm lucky enough that I've got both, which some of you out there I'm sure you have. But what I've gone ahead and done is, first of all, I've transferred this into an SVG file, which is available on Cry-Cut Design Space, and there's a link for that in the description, which we'll have a quick look at now. So once you click the link for the free SVG, it will take you to either the Design Space website or the Design Space app, and you've got the option to customise it or make it. We don't really need to do anything to it, so I've just clicked make it, but you can customise it if you wish. It then takes you to the next page just for the fine tuning. The smaller squares are in grey because it makes it easier to do them in a different pattern to the rest of the other parts, but you can swap and change this as you wish. As you can see, I didn't want them on a full page, so I've changed the page size to A4, just so everything's in line with what the paper that I'm printing on. So once you've done that, you go through, you select whatever size card you're using, and off you go. At which point you'll just choose the option for whatever weight card you're about to use and the pressure, and you will need to select your score tool, whether it be the wheel or the stylus, and then off you go. And I've also gone ahead and transferred it all onto a PDF, so you can just download the file, which is available in the description, and cut it out, print it out, cut it out. And all the dimensions are already done for you. Again, you'll need 16 of each of these squares. And then you can just trace the score lines onto your cutout once you're done. Like if you cut this out and place it on top of your cutout, you'll be able to use a ruler and a pencil and just put your score lines in. So that's 3 different ways, and that's 2 ways down in the description, which are completely free. No strings attached, completely free. Just because I thought I'm trying to make it so everybody has a chance of having the things to do this tutorial at home. So I will also link the die for the big shot in the description below as well. So let's get into it, shall we? I've gone ahead, and these are cut from my file on Design Space. I didn't end up using the die because I'd made the file for Design Space. I thought, well, I might as well cut it because I wanted to make sure it worked 100%. So there we have it. There's everything cut from the SVG file. Move those out of the way. So the first thing we're going to do, I will also, side note, I will also put all the measurements to all these pieces in the description, because if you've got a compass and that, you'll be able to do it by hand also. So that's a 4th option to be able to create this same thing. So what I'm going to do to start with, now we've got everything together, is I've got my Dobra and some ink. I've gone for a blue ink. I'm just going to go around the edge and put a bit of a fade on there. I've done it with the black one, if you can see that. I've used the Distress ink, the vintage one, for that one, and then for this white one I didn't bother, that's just as it comes. But I thought this one would give a go, just to give it a bit of a, because the background colour I've chosen is very similar, so we just want it to stand out just a tad. So I'll get on and do this. There we go, that just makes it stand out slightly more against that, I think. Yeah, that stands out so much more, doesn't it? Excellent. Okay, so now we've got all those together. What else we're going to do? We're going to take the lever. Now the lever is just a case of folding it along the score line. There we go, and then putting some glue in there. The reason that we're folding it in half is because we just want it to be a bit stronger, because it's going to be pulled around, isn't it? So we're going to fold it in half. On the PDF version, you can see I have drew it out, and you can cut round it and then get a ruler. You just put a ruler up against there. I don't think I've got a ruler as an example. Yeah, I've got a board. Put it up against there and use your pencil or something and just do that. That's the same as what you'd do on these pieces. Just do that and it will transfer onto the paper below. But you could, if you really wanted, to just cut them out singularly and stick them together, and if you wanted to even make them slightly wider, you could do that too. I don't think that matters, but you want to be careful because you're going to have limited room in the middle, but you can go a bit rogue with it. So we're just going to stick some glue down the centre there and stick it down. Keep it pressed for a second while it grabs on. Really doesn't want to grab, does it? Come on, lass. There we go. It's grabbing slowly. You could also use some double-sided sticky tape if you wish. But I'm just going to put a few clips on there just for a second, just to hold it down so we can carry on doing the rest. If you're having trouble holding it down at home, you can always stick it under something heavy. I'm just going to leave that to dry like that now. Okay. Now we're just going to go through and stick all of these together. So every single one is just like this, the smaller square on top of the big square. And we're just going to glue it down. Just like so. There we have it. That's one done already. Let's get another one. Put a bit of glue on the back. But again, you could use double-sided sticky tape for this if you wish. Or Pritt stick, whatever you've got at home handy. PVA, this is what I'm using. I use this most of the time, the tacky glue. It does dry quite fast and I am impatient. And there we go. That's all 16, all ready to go. Excellent. That's that job done. So let's just double check on this. Yep, that's tucked now. I am gonna ink the edges on this so it matches, just as a little added extra. There we go. So we're going to take our circle now. So when you've cut it out, if you're using the PDF, you will have cut it out, and you will have cut this out the PDF too, out the sheet of paper. But what you would do is you would lie this on top of this, like that, and you could get a little clip or something, and transfer all your score lines on. Or if you are doing it by hand, what you would do is you would have a full circle. The circle itself is 10 centimeters in diameter, and you need 17 sections here. So 17 little triangle shapes. In total, you want to space your lines out, so there's 24. So each line is at 15 degrees. And so 15, 30, 45 and so on. And that is the spacing between the lines if you're interested in doing it with a compass by hand at home. So now what I'm going to do now is go through, and the folds, the score lines that we've already got, I'm just going to go through and press them in a bit more, because this is very thick card. And we want to make sure that they're all pressed in there well, because if we stick them on and they're not pressed in there well, it won't concertina enough to make the waterfall effect. So it's worth just sticking them in and double checking. There we are. And then we're just going to pull them back out again. Now, there's 17 sides here and only 16 of these. Don't worry about that. That's because this last fold here is going to be tucked under like that, because that's what's going to attach it to the backing board. So we're going to start on this side, and we're going to attach these, and we want to attach them, if you can see that fold there, very slightly over the edge and very close but not over the fold. And that's how all of them will go on. So this one, next one will go here, and then here, and then here, and that's what we're going to do. Trying our best to not get any glue spillage. I mean, you could also use double-sided sticky tape for this, but I don't have any that's thin enough for the space. My double sides is a bit too thick. So what I'm going to do is just put a small amount of glue. There we go. Okay, so up to the line but not over it. And just very slightly over the edge. And give it a good press. And we'll do the next one. Give it a good press. Go up to the line and not over, and make sure you will start to see a curve coming in this corner. Is that two? No, it's only one. So up to the line but not over it, and following this curve. It is worth every now and again just flipping it over and giving it a push, because you've got like a little bit of lift of height, because you're sticking one over the other, so it's worth just going and pressing the back as well. So let's carry on with it. And there we are, all 16 squares are now attached to our circle. There we go, it's all attached on the back, it's all had a push. Now we're just going to leave that to dry to make sure it's really stuck. We don't want to be trying to put it on while the glue's still wet, because it will just pull off when you're trying to bend it, and we don't want that. Just going to double check, definitely all got stickage. There we go, excellent. So at this point, we'll leave that there actually, we're going to make some backing for it. So I've got here These are the leftovers from cutting these. So I think we're going to bring our board in, our scoring board, our cutting board. There we go. And let's tidy this edge up. Like so. That's at 13, so let's make it square. Like so. That's quite small, but it will give us a bit of extra. I'm going to leave, so let's make 14 this way. I had a moment for a moment then. 14 and a half, I think. Let's get rid of that bit. These backing cards can be any size you want. There's really, it doesn't matter. I'd suggest a smaller one to initially put it onto, but then you can put it on to another one, any size that you wish. So I'm just going to round the edges to keep it in theme. The die that you put through the Big Shot, that's mostly squared edges, but the file that I've created on Design Space, I have rounded the edges. It's personal preference. If you do know how to use Design Space, you can make new squares with not rounded edges if you wish. Or if you're using the PDF, you can just cut them square and not take the corners off. It really doesn't matter, it's personal preference. There we go. Do I do that one? I'm going to do this one as well. Afterthought. Not too much, just a little bit around the edge. Okay, so I'm going to put this now on here and find where I want it to lie. So I'm going to say about there, because both the corners are hidden, pretty central. That bit will be tucked under like so. Yeah, I think like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark in the middle here with, this is my bookbinding tool, but you can make any, like use a ballpoint pen or anything that will make a bit of a dint. You could even use your scoring tool. We just want to make a mark there so we can see where we want to poke our hole. So now we've got where we want to poke our hole. It's not very central, is it? I think I've lied to you. I don't think I want it there. I think I want it there. Once we've marked where we want our hole, I am going to use this binding tool just to poke a hole straight through. Now you can use anything that you've got, a skewer, a cocktail stick. You still use your ballpoint pen again, but be careful because you don't want to make a messy hole. I'd say a hole punch would be too big. So now we've got that hole, we want to attach our leather to it. We're going to attach it using a split pin, which I have learnt not everywhere calls them split pins. Some places call them brads, but here in the UK it is called a split pin. And we're just going to push that through that first hole, through the back. Now you can open it there if you want, but this didn't come with the Big Shot die. I've just made a little extra just to thicken that hole up, especially if you accidentally make it too big. It just gives it that little bit extra security. And then all we're going to do is we're going to stick this to this. But we are going to avoid putting glue anywhere near that brad, that split pin. So I'm going to go right around the outside. Again, you can use double-sided for this if you want to. There we go. And we've still got plenty of turning there. There we go. So once you've got your lever attached, we're just going to bring our waterfall back in. At this point it should be near on dry, and we're going to place it on this backing card. We want just your split pin to be in the middle and kind of eyeball it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stick this down. Now for this part I am going to use my double-sided, just because with glue you'll have to wait for it to completely dry before you turn it, otherwise it's just going to move and pull off and ruin your paper. I have learnt that the hard way. So I'm just going to cut some double-sided off and stick it on. Now it is going to, like I said, I've only got the thick stuff. So what I'm going to do is stick it on and just cut the excess off. Like that. There we go. Let's replace it back down again where we want it. The lever is going to be attached anywhere on this first square. Don't put it too close to the edge because you want a decent amount of tape on there or glue to hold it, because you're going to be putting some pressure on there when you're turning it round. So I'm going to put it here. Again, I'm just going to cut off the excess because I don't have any thin tape. There we go. Reposition it again. I just want to put it just there so it hides that tape. So we're just going to double check that it's in the middle before we start sticking anything together. Okay, oops, I moved it then. There we go. So I'm going to pull that bit of double-sided off, and I'm just going to tuck it under and push it down. And without moving anything, trying to keep everything together, I'm going to take this part off the lever and then just lift it up and push it under till you can't see it no more. And then I'm going to press it down. Now that is completely stuck now in both. That's the only places it needs stuck to the backing card. I mean, my backing card on this one is quite small. Again, you can make them any size you want to. This one I've not put a second backing board on because it's going to go into a scrapbook around the edges and stick it into a scrapbook, so I don't want too much bulk. And now if we turn it, we should get a lovely wave. Oh, let's see. I don't want to turn it too fast on the first turn, just in case there's any of these. There we go. You want to just, on your first fold, don't force it. Just push it ever so gently in case there's any of them folds that just need a bit of extra folding. Okay, so now you've gone through and you've gently, really gently pushed it, because if it gets caught like that, I mean it's not caught, but pretend it is, just gently push it with your hand and just give it a good fold. So if you carry on turning, I haven't got a good grab on the bottom there. carry on turning. See, like this bit, we just want to gently force that fold, because we don't want to push it and it rip. So once you've done this a few times, once you've opened it very slowly and creased it a few times, then you should have absolutely no problem opening and closing it. There we go. It's catching on my hand where I'm holding it. I'll hold it somewhere different. Or if I hold it here, it's not going to catch on my hand there, is it? There we go. Beautiful. And that's that. That's the project complete. And that does make a lovely interactive element for whatever it is you're making. Like I say, you don't have to use patterned paper. You could use photos from occasions of your children, anything that you want to remember. And there's a lot of photos, and you've got your scrapbook. This is a good way of sticking a lot of photos in one place, and I really love it. I'm really pleased that we've done this. But don't forget to look for the link in the description for this download from my Google Drive, and underneath it will be the link to the Design Space SVG that I've also created, and next to that will also be the link for the actual die cut. And where you take this project from this point is up to you. You could even go ahead and do it like this and then stick photos on, couldn't you? Or I don't know. It doesn't have to even be photos. You could put words on there, little quotes. You know, it's your imagination, and all these projects that I like to do can be completely turned into anything that you want them to be, because your imagination is the most important thing. I would only like to give you ideas, and where you take these ideas is entirely up to you, and I hope you have fun with it. So if you've liked this video, please like and subscribe, and we will be back with more videos soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.